Okay, so the first thing that we have to understand in this section is the concept of work. If we look at this weightlifter here, it appears as though he's doing a large amount of work in order to keep this weight above his head. But, however, it is very important to notice that because the bar is motionless, he is actually doing no work at all on the barbell in this position. What that means is that he's actually only doing work when distance is involved. And so work only actually happens when he takes the barbell from the ground and lifts it into the air. That means work is only happening in this moment of time. Now, take a second to record your response to this question in the Google form attached to this video. Okay, the next important topic that we're going to look at is the idea of power. Power simply is work divided by time, the amount of time it takes to do a certain amount of work. So the book gives us the following example. Both people, both the old woman and the man, are moving the same amount of snow. They're both doing the same amount of work. However, the important difference is the amount of time it is taking to do these equal amounts of work. So obviously we can see that the snowblower has much more power than a typical shovel. Okay, now let's practice some math. You can exert or do a certain amount of vertical force of 72 newtons in order to lift a box to a weight of 1 meter in a time of 2 seconds. How much power is used to lift the box? Take a moment right now and use this formula to try to solve this question. Okay, remember, in order to solve this problem of work over time, we need to use the work formula. So we're actually using two formulas in order to solve this. Let's begin. Okay, let's begin. Remember, we're solving for power, so we're going to use this formula in order to solve. What is the amount of work that we are told in the problem? We are told that there are 72 newtons that is carried out over a distance of 1 meter. We're also told that this takes a total of 2 seconds. Okay, let's do the math. When we do this math, we notice that the answer is 72 divided by 2, which equals 36. Also notice that this answer from above is telling us joules per second, which is essentially work. Now we need to transfer joules per second into watts. This is done easily because the SI unit of power is watt. A watt is the amount of joules per second. So an easy way to do this is just to change this joules per second into watts. Okay, let's take a second to go through this more complicated question that you see in your textbook. Remember that in order to solve this, you must understand the work formula as well as the power formula, and that this work formula is used in your power formula. Take a second right now and read the question and try to understand how to solve this question. Okay, let's start with the work formula. The force we are given is 10 newtons. So, 10 newtons is pulled for a speed of 0.5 meters per second. Now, notice that the suitcase moves for 0.5 meters per second. We're going to use this information in order to tell us that it is actually being multiplied times 0.5 meters, and that this is happening for a time of 1 second. Now we simply do the math. 10 times 0.5 equals 5. Remember, work is measured in joules, and that this is happening in 1 second. So, now let's convert this into power. We do this simply by converting joules per second into watts. Remember, watts is a measurement of joules per second. So this problem actually is fairly simple.